gross, gooey, gory, grotty, goofy, grubby, grimy, ghastly, groovy, gloriously, gleefully grotesque. That's how I would describe Sam Raimi, one of the great directors of all time. His colourful, chaotic comedy and unhinged, mean-spirited delight in tormenting his characters that has just the right amount of light-hearted, wacky, Looney Tunes shenanigans sprinkled into it that it never wallows in the horrors of his often darkly perverse stories. He is a fascinating and unique voice in cinema, and one that I thought until very recently was very particular and specific. I would never call him one note, but I did think he had a certain vibe. But as I got hyped for his newest film, Send Help, I came to the shocking and horrifying realization I hadn't seen every Sam Raimi film. Not only that, but I hadn't even heard of some of his films, outside of his masterpiece Spider-Man and Evil Dead trilogies, which both helped define my entire childhood in very different ways. I hadn't seen much of his work at all. And what I found watching all of these films is Raimi has such a very diverse and eclectic body of work. He has so much more range and really isn't just the gooey, gory, grotty guy. It's been a truly wonderful and joyous and surprising cinematic journey as I watch all of his films. But, like all good franchises and ranking lists, there is always one or two truly bad films that unfortunately, because this is YouTube and I'm contractually obligated, I must start with them, as they are the worst in this worst to best rankings list. So enough preamble, because Raimi has somehow 17 films that we need to get through. So do a quick zoom to your couch, grab a Dutch-related beverage, and the most disgusting food from your fridge, because it's time to rank Raimi. Number 17, Crime Wave. If you ever think you don't deserve a second chance, just remember, no matter how bad you fucked up and how bad you don't deserve a second chance, the Coen brothers wrote and Sam Raimi directed one of the worst films ever made. And all of them got a second chance, whether they deserved it or not. They didn't, but you do. One of the most aggressively unfunny, slapstick, cartoonishly nonsense films I've ever seen. Replace jokes with screaming, laughing, and loud sounds, and you have this film. The Coen brothers' noir comedy script with Sam Raimi's hilarious and darkly offbeat sensibilities should be way up my alley. But this film bounced off me so quickly and so violently, it legitimately took me 3 watches to suffer this film. So painfully unfunny, it just made me really sad and really tired. This live-action Looney Tunes film has maybe ruined Looney Tunes for me forever. This is the follow-up film from The Evil Dead, and it might be the biggest downgrade in quality of all time. But then immediately jumping back up after this with Evil Dead 2 might be the biggest glow-up of all time. Early Raimi is a fascinating beast. Horror? I'm so in. I couldn't be more in. But when his humor isn't grounded in the horror genre, I've never been more out. His slapstick Looney Tunes madness and unhinged, incoherent chaos is just way too cartoonish and dumb, and most of the humor and timing is just really off. The performances are way too much, and no one, save Bruce Campbell, of course, is able to make the material work. I loathed all of the characters. It's mostly just people laughing maniacally or screaming at each other, and the pacing is just so cooked that I'm so exhausted from the relentlessly goofy nonsense. Even when there's a good joke, they don't work for me. It's far more in tone and style to his student feature, It's Murder, which is also pretty aggressively unfunny to me. This is only better because it has a bigger budget, and technically some of it was shot competently, but it's probably worse. And as I'm reading this, I realized I must have done this before I put it in the ranking, because it is worse, it's the worst one, and that is because it should be something. I wouldn't force this on my own worst enemy. Knowing them, they'd probably enjoy it. I'm giving this bad boy 1 star for Bruce Campbell's "wait, am I the bad guy?" moment. But then he laughs because he doesn't care It's really funny stuff. I can't wait to never think about this film again. It hurts to say that because I love Raimi and I mostly love the Coen brothers, but this one is a strange dud that did very little for me. Number 16, It's Murder. Sam Raimi's student feature film he made as a teenager. Unwatchable. Not because it's that bad, but because it's literally unwatchable. Almost impossible to find a copy. The only one I was able to find was on YouTube, and it looks and sounds awful.
Who said anything about murder?
Truly terrible quality. It's a miracle this survived to be viewed in its unwatchable state on YouTube. But also, yeah, it is unwatchable because it's that bad. It's a film of two halves. The first is a fever dream of a film. Unhinged, strange, deeply unfunny. But the second half is essentially an extended car chase that is kind of amazing and has all of the Raimi flourishes you would expect from a teen Raimi. Just a shame it takes about 3 days to get to the 40-minute mark where we get this insane car chase. I did get a bit of joy from this in an almost out-of-body experience way, as I chose to sit and watch a 70-minute student film. Kind of funny just in the way where I said about 10 times, oh, what is happening? What am I doing with my life? Is this really how I'm spending my night? How is this my life? But also, should I quit my job and make a film? Some pure teenage cringe. The humor's insane and embarrassing, the plot is incoherent, and the acting is hilariously bad. But honestly, I don't mean that in a rude way, despite how it sounds. They are having a go at it and having a blast, and you gotta love that. Would never want to stop some boys going out and making a film in their teenage years. What would I say if I didn't know this was Raimi? Who's to say? Let's not go there. But honestly, it's kind of worth a watch just as a curiosity to see where it all began for Raimi. If you're a big Raimi fan, you might get some joy and insight from it. And the back half is surprisingly really fun and awesome in the car chase, and I kind of love that. But I was so battered down by that first half and its humor. I can't be too positive. It could have just been that car chase and it would have been a better film. I'd say maybe just watch the car chase. But for real, the jump in quality from this film to The Evil Dead is absurd. I love Sam Raimi, and I hate to be so negative. He is truly a deep inspiration for me, but also, I won't lie, it's pretty painful at times. Number 15, For the Love of the Game. If Kevin Costner and Sam Raimi can't make me like baseball, nothing can. The romance flashbacks, which take up 80% of this film, deliver the quintessential unromantic, uncharming, anti-chemistry performances of all time by our two leads. Some truly embarrassing and horrible stuff, mostly due to Costner's awful bad bloke energy that just smears the film with self-indulgent, egotistical wank. And to be clear, I love that guy usually. Yellowstone, Waterworld, Waterworld 2, that time he tried to fight a tornado in Man of Steel, that time he killed his neighbor's horses with a flood in Batman vs Superman. All good stuff. But yeah, he sucks in this. The baseball stuff is fine, but only takes up like 20% of the film, and almost has a flourish of Raiminess to them, but not nearly as much as I would like. This does feel like the strangest and weirdest of Raimi's films, a sports romance film starring Kevin Costner that feels like it was shadow directed by Kevin Costner. This is the only Sam Raimi film that feels like he was a gun for hire. Or maybe he was just a fan of Kevin Costner, or maybe he owed Kevin Costner money, or maybe he owed somebody money who also owed Kevin Costner a favor. I don't know what happened here, and let's be real guys, baseball is still, at its very best, just shit cricket. Number 14, Oz the Great and the Powerful. I didn't expect this to be the case, but watching every Sam Raimi film is kind of like Thanos collecting all of the stones. This day extracts a heavy toll. Wild and depressing to think we live in a world where this isn't the worst film about the Wizard of Oz. Opening scene was kind of amazing. A black and white sequence in which a conman magician womanizing about town with everybody like an egotistical maniac, and he has to flee town on a stolen hot air balloon. I was in. I couldn't believe how in I was. How is this and Pineapple Express Franco's only two films he's not phoning it in? To quote Thorin, "I've never been so wrong in all my life." We then transition from black and white with a great shot to colourful Oz, and sadly and ironically, all the joy and life drains away immediately. We descend / tumble off a CG cliff, quality-wise, into an expensive yet ugly, terrible, lifeless, weightless, CGI nonsense world with a plot about prophecy and witches and generic lame home-brand hero's journey and underdeveloped villain arcs that are cartoonishly silly, but without the joy, so come across as, at best, irritating and at worst, offensive and painful. The cast is stacked like a Knives Out film, but just like Knives Out 3, Mila Kunis is horrifically miscast and delivers a truly terrible performance. Please let her do Forgetting Sarah Marshall type films again, Hollywood. I hate seeing her so bad in things. It's generally painful. There's a CGI monkey in this that looks so fucking horrible. Like Jumanji Monkey's horrible. Obviously not that bad. Nothing ever will be. But you know, pretty bad. The porcelain doll looks kind of great, but I don't know why the budget went exclusively to her design. The middle act is a nightmare in how dull it is. I made a sanity choice and watched the middle hour on my phone outside whilst baking in the hot 40 degrees sun with a boost juice and a Caribbean flavored home cooked chicken. And that barely helped this dreary, dull affair. The final act is kind of fun, but maybe that was mostly due to escaping the heat from my aircon / couch / 70-inch TV. We'll never know, but I do really enjoy the conman weaponizing his tricks and illusions against these stupid witches who don't understand technology. Kinda loved that. Raimi puts in 2 brief as fuck moments of style and energy that just remind you how flat and dull this movie is filmed and staged. I can see a full-blown Raimi version of this film that's actually fucking awesome. But sadly, this is not that. Not by a long shot. Pretty awful and boring stuff. And let me be the first to say this. More like Oz the Bad and the Weak. Got him. Also, what is up with the Wicked Witch's eyebrows? Like seriously, what is going on? Number 13, The Gift. Wait, Sam Raimi made a film with Keanu Reeves? That's amazing. I cannot wait to see what they cook up together.
No, you...
Oh, okay. He's a massive prick. Maybe the least Keanu vibes Keanu has ever given. A really bad guy, really unlikable. He really dives into the role and sells it, and he's really good at being really bad. Some of his most ranged and diverse stuff he's ever done in his life. Really fascinating to watch. Everything else is fine to meh. The cast is stacked. This is one of the films I'd never heard of, and this was also one of the films where I realized Sam Raimi might have worked with every single actor in the world. Forget 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon. It should be 6 Degrees to people who've been in films with Sam Raimi. Every single one of his films is just so stacked, I just couldn't believe it. But outside of the joy and surprise of seeing them in this film, they didn't do much for me, unfortunately. A murder mystery doesn't always hinge on the reveal, but when you guess it immediately and the film pretends it's this big twist, it's pretty lame and frustrating. This film is almost something great. A psychic helps with a missing persons case in a small redneck hillbilly town, and the film is about all the strange, volatile drama of that, but it kind of runs out of steam and doesn't come together fully. There's one big moment at the end that is very bizarre, and I kind of love that, even if it's super weird. Worth a watch for Raimi completionists. Everyone else, I'd say you could probably skip it. Number 12, The Quick and the Dead. Probably the worst great Raimi film. I really liked it, but I didn't love it. I did love the last 20 minutes, and it really came to life for me, and I left super jazzed and hyped, but the first 2 acts I did have some issues with, unfortunately. You want to see the camera do a classic Sam Raimi Dutch tilt / quick zoom in on cowboys' faces, guns, and clocks? Oh boy, do I have good news for you? Some really fun and well shot gunfights. Some of the sequences, two in particular, are just out of this world fun in how stylized and visually gorgeous they are. It really is peak Sam Raimi doing a Western film visually. The visuals in this are everything you would want from peak, full 20 out of 10 Sam Raimi in a Western setting. What holds me back from loving it is kinda antithetical to Raimi being Raimi. Kinda. The plot is really silly, and I know that's insane. It's Raimi being Raimi. Of course it's silly, but having seen all of his films now, he's not just silly all of the time, and I think a balance often works, whereas this is too cartoonish, too early, and for too long for me. It's about a quick draw contest. Who's the quickest hands in the West? But like a tournament. And it's like, oh, okay, what is this? Dodgeball? They're gonna win a contest for money? But the stakes are all vengeance and blood for our hero. But it's kinda in this cartoonishly absurd setting of a tournament of famous gunslingers shooting each other. Everyone wants to kill this one guy and enters the tournament to do so, but they could just like do it at any time. And it's kind of like, you just gotta live with that stupid cartoony logic, but the film takes itself pretty seriously at the end, so it's just a strange tonal mix. I don't know, I just couldn't emotionally lock in 100% until like over 80 minutes into the film when it finally got real and deadly and serious and the stakes actually matter. Which is a shame because I think Raimi could have made a true Western classic, but it feels a little light and shallow and style over substance for the first two acts. The tone is a mess, because once the third act kicks off, we are back to a real movie. Sorry, but the first two acts is a Saturday morning cartoon, but live action, with an A-list cast cosplaying cowboys. And this is a ridiculous complaint, I know, but the cast is almost too stacked. But I think it's cause of the tone. Like with such a big cast and it's so overly dramatic but Looney Tunes, it kind of felt like watching famous people play dress up. I didn't really believe this world existed. But I guess he just wanted to do 50 quick draw Western shootouts in a row, tournament style. So hey, he does that and power to him. Number 11, Darkman. I can't believe I had never seen this film before. Why do I hate myself, cinema, and Sam Raimi? An absolutely wild and fascinating film. Such a beautiful transition between his Evil Dead trilogy and his Spider-Man trilogy. You often don't get such a clear and obvious transition of directors to eras with one film. Even if Army of Darkness wasn't out yet, I think my point still stands. This film has a really great energy to it, absolutely packed to the brim with classic Raimi camera movements and angles. I love how he moves the camera, particularly just running up at a character to get a nice juicy close-up. It has such a fun energy that is just infectious. So much madness and color and weird, wacky, gory zaniness that I just adored. It's big, it's chaotic, and it's doing a lot. This is a gloriously and strange mashup of so many genres and ideas. It feels like the blueprint for the superhero genre, which surprised me as Spider-Man has always felt like the blueprint, but apparently that was draft 2. I was more than pleasantly surprised that this was a beautiful smorgasbord / love letter mashup of all of the Universal monsters. And unlike the masterpiece Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing, it's just combined all into one guy, which is absolutely crazy and super fun. Darkman himself is such a wild blend of so many different visuals. He looks like the Shadow and the Phantom of Opera dressing up for Halloween as the Mummy, and then once the bandages are too hot after a few drinks out on the town, he's got crazy Nosferatu looking vampire / zombie makeup on. I love it! So much going on. I'm not even done with the Universal monsters yet either. Love that it's a mad scientist film that's what if Dr. Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster were one guy and tried to piece themselves back together with shades of The Fly, but in reverse. And let's jump to another all-timer franchise. This film has also got a shapeshifter element that's real gross and weird, but also super goofy and dumb and very Mission Impossible with all of its mask madness. Does it make sense? Why would it? but it does go out of its way to make more sense than Arya in Game of Thrones. And then, to find out that this isn't based off a comic, but was an original idea, is simply crazy. Such a great, fun, and cool idea. I've always presumed this was a guy based off some old-timey The Shadow type guy who I'd never heard of in old comics, but it's literally a guy created because Sam Raimi couldn't get the rights to The Shadow. Amazing. This is Raimi's Indiana Jones James Bond moment. I think if I saw this as a kid, I think the touch of nostalgia would elevate this to a 5, but as an adult, I did find myself wanting a little bit more emotion, and the villains are pretty lackluster and generic. But who cares? It's real good. Also, Danny Elfman scored this. Elfman really knows how to elevate this chaotic energy and heightened madness with some really fun and big music. Liam Neeson is terrific in this film, and it's surreal to see him in this type of campy, weird, Raimi film when I'm so used to seeing him in a Taken/Taken-esque film that's always way less over the top in its colourful, weird, perverse kind of sensibilities. I think it truly speaks to how good Raimi is that this film being so good is this low on the list. Hot take, but Raimi, pretty good director. Number 10, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now I know I'm in the minority here, but I kind of love this, despite it being clearly 3 films fighting each other. Somehow way more Raimi and way less Raimi than I remembered. Hardly a multiverse of madness, similar to how Ultron's age lasted a long weekend at best. This feels more like a multiverse of mild mischief. But I do love a lot of what's in this, despite wanting more. Strange does way more magic weirdness in this, and he fights wacky, insane monsters, and that music fight is absurd, and I love all of those elements. Creatively so fun and fresh when it's doing the dark, macabre Raimi-isms, yet so incredibly lazy and uninspired with its multiverse stuff. It's a strange contradiction of a movie, and so tastes a little weird, but I also think it works more than it doesn't. The guitar riff and eye-opening end stinger is fucking insane, and I love it. Also, it's so funny that he's totally cool with it in the mid-credits. Man's seen some shit, and he's just rolling with it, and that's good stuff. I love when Raimi gets to Raimi all over this Doctor Strange film. The way they film Wanda walking through hallways like some kind of horror monster is awesome. The way the Ultron oil is splattered over her to look like blood is really ingenious. There's some really insane, perverse, strange, crazy stuff that I genuinely love so very much. The moment where Doctor Strange gets a bunch of demons and turns them into a cape of ghouls, incredible stuff. I love the Doctor Strange character. I love Wanda. I love that they turned her into a villain. I really like a lot of stuff in this movie, but also, now I think about it, they didn't give us Tom Cruise's Iron Man, which makes it the worst film ever. What's it doing so high on this list? Number 9, Send Help. This film is like if Misery and Castaway had a baby, but then a witch from a Sam Raimi film cursed the baby. So then the baby came out all weird and gross looking, and everyone's happy for the couple and their new baby, but good luck getting anyone to touch that baby, because it's unnaturally gooey. And whilst not focusing fully on the gross weirdness like, say, a Drag Me to Hell, this film allows us time to focus on our 2 leads who deliver career-best performances playing against time. Both of them are usually so effortlessly charming, likable, and nice, and now we get Mr. Maze Runner himself as the biggest fuckhead who's ever lived. And Rachel McAdams, whilst at times is deeply sympathetic, is also interestingly never played simply and is extremely flawed and very troubled. Their chemistry together and the way they play off each other is the highlight of the film. They are both so good in this movie. Honestly, I was overwhelmed by how much I enjoyed their performances. Truly 2 of the great performances of 2026. Pretty early to say that, I suppose. And one of the best duos in all of his filmography, which is saying quite a lot. Also, shout out to the makeup artist who better get a fucking raise, because how did they trick me in those opening 15 minutes, even for a single second, that Rachel McAdams isn't a sexy goddess, but some kind of gross cat lady. That's the power of makeup and acting. Or maybe it's some kind of dark magic Raimi learnt from the Necronomicon. Actually, that kind of makes more sense. I loved this film, and I love that after 17 years, Raimi is finally back doing what Raimi does best. And sure, the script isn't by Raimi, but it is by the dynamic duo who gave us Freddy vs. Jason, which I've heard some negative talk like that isn't a writing credit you would be proud of. Like, excuse me, what's going on here? That movie is awesome. I am not afraid to say it. I love Freddy vs. Jason.
How sweet. Dark meat.
Mostly. Number 8, Army of Darkness. Now don't get me wrong, I love this film, but I do think it was an incredibly big missed opportunity because I think calling it Medieval Dead would have been groovy. The Evil Dead films mean so much to me, they kind of reshaped how I viewed cinema. I think there's 3 clear kind of distinct moments in my life. Phase 1, Lord of the Rings. Phase 2, Evil Dead. Phase 3, Game of Thrones. We don't talk about Phase 4. Phase 4 isn't real, it can't hurt us. I used to not really like this one compared to 1 and 2. It was always just too goofy, too absurd, too ridiculous, and it took all the really fun comedy elements of 2, but instead of watching a man actually go insane and watching true lunacy and seeing a man actually descend into insanity, this was just kind of like, oh, that one was silly, let's be really silly. And that always kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, ironically, because the film itself didn't have such a bad taste. And it was just kind of so lighthearted. And as I've gotten older, my sensibilities have shifted and changed, so I do actually find this newfound kind of adult appreciation of the absolute stupidity of Army of Darkness, because it lets us play in the world of the Necronomicon and the Deadites and Ash and Raimi. And I really love that we essentially get 3 entirely different films in terms of tone and style and flavor, but using the same ingredients, which is just super, super exciting. Yes, it's completely over the top and goofy and not serious for a single second, but he just nails that tone that were too much in films like Crime Wave, because it is full comedy and it's so stupid. This might be the stupidest film ever made, and I love it for that. Something I've never appreciated till now is that it still does have that Evil 2 inventiveness and creativeness and just weird, wacky wildness to how he films it, the things that happen in the film, and just the lunacy of it all. Also, the best part of the film is probably when the wise old wizard Merlin man is like, hey, you better fucking remember these lines. If you don't remember these exact lines, and he's like, shut up, nerd, I know the words. And I don't know what that accent is. And then he gets to the place, and he's just like, fuck, I forgot the words. I have never related to a man or a character or anything in my life more than that. The original 2 films kind of mean more to me just on a personal level and how they kind of changed my mind of an idea of like what was possible on like a filmmaking level as an aspiring filmmaker. But this most recent rewatch, I probably enjoyed Army of Darkness as much as The Evil Dead. Number 7, A Simple Plan. Sam Raimi's Fargo. And not just because it's set in the snow, and not just because it stars Billy Bob Thornton, and not just because it's about a giant stack of cash. Well, it's mostly because of those things. Raimi strips away all of his usual quirks and style and delivers an extremely self-serious, moody, atmospheric, morally grey, and traditional looking, sounding and feeling film about a group of 3 men who find a stack of cash and how it slowly and surely spirals out of control. This film is so good. It is dripping with tension. It is extremely well acted. Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton are both delivering some of their very best work. Billy Bob Thornton is extremely quiet and restrained in a way I've not seen of him. Like Raimi, he is really flexing muscles I didn't know he had, and I love it. The characters and dialogue are exceptional. The plot and story goes in familiar ways, but it's how it does them that makes it so emotional and powerful. People making choices, and those choices are not very good choices. The last 10 minutes is absolutely fucked up. It completely broke me. It's such an incredible end to a movie. Just truly devastating, harrowing, thought-provoking, powerful stuff. Sam Raimi's Fargo is better than Fargo. Well, Fargo the movie. It's probably not as good as the show. Yeah, that's right, I said it. The Fargo TV show is better than the movie. What of it? How is that even a hot take? That should be a thematically appropriately cold take. I don't even understand how it's a hot take. The show is so incredible. At least the 3 seasons I've seen. How many seasons are there now? Probably hasn't gotten to American Horror Story levels of like, wait, there's how many fucking seasons? But I've definitely not seen all of it. But from what I've seen, it's way better than the movie. Number 6, Drag Me to Hell. MTV's Best Kiss for 2009 goes to The Old Toothless Witch. Bam, 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 bam. Fucking hell, I love this film so much. Raimi going full Raimi, and oh, is it glorious. Witchy weirdness and cooked curses seem to be his comfort place, and I love that for him. I love how his spooky vibes are mostly just very silly with just the right amount of gross. It is just so refreshing and exciting to see such flavor and personality dripping from every frame of this film. This is maybe the most mean-spirited film from Sam Raimi, but because it's so infectiously fun and creative and weird and absurd and super gross, and that lady's eyeball flies into her face at that one point, which is truly glorious stuff, the mean-spiritedness of it never fully overwhelms, even though I can see why some people go, I'm sorry, fucking what? But for me, I'm like, oh, fucking what? This is truly one of the most disgusting films of all time. Just so gross. Just so gross. So many moments in this, I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how gross and weird it is. I really like this. I feel like I liked it, and then the most recent time, I'm like, I really like it. But I actually watched this film out of all of the ones on the rewatch twice, and on that second time, I was like, oh my god. This is exceptional. This is the best non-Evil Dead / Spider-Man Raimi film by a mile. Honestly, this should probably be higher on the list because it has one of, if not the best final scene of all time. But that being said, I really just do like Spider-Man and Evil Dead. Number 5, The Evil Dead. This film is one of the films that changed how I saw what cinema could be and what cinema could do. It is such an exceptionally inventive, creative, horrifying, absolutely cooked film. I love every single second of it. I almost can't be objective of this because it reshaped and recalibrated how I experienced film. It really got me into horror at like a very early age. It just, I don't know, man. I honestly don't even know what to say other than it is so special to me. It is so gloriously beautiful. And sure, maybe as an adult watching some of the scenes, I'm like, holy fucking hell, that's actually pretty cooked. But there's something so inspirational about how low budget it is, how inventive it is with such a low budget, how much energy and chaotic vibes and unhinged inventive creativity is on display. Every single shot, every single choice, it is just dripping with personality and flavor. I just want to smear the flavor of Evil Dead all over my chicken and eat it up. Weird analogy, but I said flavor and I'm like, love some good peri-peri flavoring on chicken. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have nothing objective to say about it. It's just truly one of the great films of all time, and it really speaks to how good Raimi is that it's this low on the list, even though it's pretty high on the list, I suppose. Honestly, rewatching all of his films and seeing the 2 films in between this, which is It's Murder, his student short film, and then after this Crime Wave, it's just like, I don't even know how we're so lucky to get this film. It feels so different to those 2 films, and it's sandwiched between them, which I never realized. I always thought it was just this, then Evil Dead 2, because I guess I forgot to Wikipedia Sam Raimi's filmography. I don't know how that happens. But yeah, one of the great films of all time. Number 4, Spider-Man 2. It's no Spider-Man 3, but it's pretty good. Number 3, Spider-Man. It's no Spider-Man 3, but it's pretty good. Number 2, Spider-Man 3. Surprise to no one who knows me, but deeply surprising and worrying for everybody who doesn't, this is easily my favorite Raimi Spider-Man film. Now sure, is this a classic and a masterpiece of superhero cinema like 1 and 2? No, of course not. But you know what it is? really fucking weird. So weird. Like, why and how is this so strange and bizarre and just fucking cooked? I've never laughed so much in my life. It gets better with age. Every emo Parker scene is the peak of cinema and my life. It was a cultural turning point for society and cinema when Peter Parker looked in the mirror and flicked that hair over his eyes. I'm not sure society ever fully recovered. I know I haven't. Now, sure, I might be laughing at the film, but it's also with it. This film is really, really funny. I also don't care if it's accidental, self-sabotage, or intentional. This film is fucking funny. I also do think a lot of the emotional stuff really works. The retcon of Uncle Ben's death is insane, and it feels like it belongs in Spidey 7, not 3. Such a poor choice. I love it. It speaks to the messy, unhinged, chaotic vibe this film lives and breathes in. And I love that. Sandman is non-ironically great, tragic and heartbreaking, but also has some pretty fun powers and fights. Venom does suck, but he's barely in it. Eddie Brock is wildly miscast, but also he kind of works for this version of the character, and I love that he hates Peter Parker so much he wishes and prays for God to kill him. That's dedication to your hatred that you just have to respect. Whereas the first two films' practical effects really mask the sparing use of CG, this film goes full MCU before that was even a twinkle in Kevin Feige's eyes. New Goblin? Even just saying that's pretty funny. And MJ stuff is all batshit nonsense and hilarious, and for the memes alone, is glorious. Overall, this is obviously the best film, because how does this exist? How did it get so weird? 1 and 2 have some chaotic vibes to them, but they are so much more traditional blueprints for the standard superhero film format. Whereas this is like, what if Peter Parker does a cool cringe guy dance, goes emo, and accidentally assaults his girlfriend, MJ? What the fuck, movie? Oh boy, does it feel weird to end on that note. But hey, that's Spidey 3, baby. Number 1, Evil Dead 2. The greatest sequel of all time. Just like how Spider-Man 2 is a 5-star film, and Spider-Man 3 is a 5-star film. This is the same for The Evil Dead. Superior and better in every way. I love the speedrun of the first film, but remade in the first 10 minutes. So fun. Not only did they pull a Justin Timberlake and drop the, but it pretty much reinvents what a movie can do. Creative, inventive, wildly imaginative, and crazy inspiring. Also weird. Really fucking weird. And gory and groovy. And did I mention weird? This film changed what I realized cinema could do. A truly magical, hilarious, insane, unhinged, chaotic film that delivers something beyond nostalgia for me. Unhinged, chaotic, hilarious mania. It is a fever dream of a film, but in the best way. It overwhelmed me as a child, and it still overwhelms me today. It feels like an adrenaline shot of just pure inspiration. I just fucking love this film so very much. Low budget filmmaking like this is infectious to me. I think I have a rash now, but I want to keep this rash. Don't give me the cream. I don't want it. It unlocks a part of me I think is often gone. Should I quit my job and make a movie? If I call in sick for the next 3 years, you'll know why. For Bruce Campbell's hand acting alone, this is obviously the best film in Raimi's filmography. I do think this is one of the greatest films of all time. I think it is easily the best horror comedy of all time. I didn't really remember how non-Ash is in The Evil Dead. It's really Evil Dead 2, in which Bruce Campbell gets to really become the character that we all know and adore. He is so good in this movie. All of his comedic chops are kind of on display here. Yes, he gets thrown through cupboards in the first one, but this one is the one we really get to see that he can act and do so much physicality, that hand acting alone. I mean, there's just so much he's doing in this film. I kind of was surprised by how little he was doing in the first one. Like, he's not bad by any measure, but he's so iconic and like the horror character in my mind. And it's just crazy that like none of it's really in one. It gives a really fantastic performance of a man who's going insane, like actually going insane. God, you just gotta love that he loved his friend Sam Raimi so much that he was like, yes, you can try to kill me every single day on set for months on end. Now that's true friendship. In conclusion, this is easily Sam Raimi's best film, and it's so good that my top 4th spot on Letterboxd is looking real dangerous. Speaking of which, if you somehow got this far in the rankings video, please check me out on Letterboxd. I'm at Mr. Kraken, link in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the YouTubey things, and most importantly, I'd love to hear your Raimi ranking.